Picture this. You hit the power button, and instead of staring at some clunky interface that looks like it crawled out of 2003, you're greeted by buttery smooth animations, crisp modern visuals, perfectly balanced colors, and a desktop that feels incredibly responsive and alive. Windows glide across your screen like silk. Icons look professionally polished. Everything just clicks. Here's the thing: when people used to talk about beautiful operating systems, Linux didn't even make the list. Sure, everyone knew Linux was powerful, rock solid, secure, and endlessly customizable. But beautiful, user-friendly, not a chance. For years, Linux had this reputation: nerdy, complicated, ugly, and definitely not for regular people. That stereotype stuck like glue. But here's what most people don't realize. That reputation is completely outdated. Linux is undergoing a transformation so dramatic, so visually stunning, that calling it anything less than a desktop revolution would be an understatement. Welcome to OpenTech IA. Today, we're diving into how Linux quietly became one of the most modern, gorgeous, and impressively designed desktop platforms on the planet, and why almost nobody is talking about it. Let's be real for a second. Linux has always been a beast under the hood. It runs the world's servers, powers supercomputers, keeps the cloud running, drives Android phones, smart TVs, and even your car's entertainment system. But when it came to desktop computers, Linux had one glaring weakness: polished. Early Linux desktops worked technically, but they rarely impressed anyone. The experience felt thrown together. Different apps followed completely different design languages. Themes looked inconsistent and amateurish. Animations were either non-existent or janky. Even basic stuff like smooth scrolling or intuitive touchpad gestures felt off. Meanwhile, Windows and macOS were laser-focused on user experience. They poured resources into visual consistency, fluid animations, and making things just work. The result? Most people assumed Linux simply wasn't ready for everyday users. Fast forward to today, and something incredible is happening. Linux desktops aren't playing catch-up anymore. In many ways, they're pushing boundaries and innovating in ways that feel genuinely fresh and exciting. This didn't happen overnight. It's the product of years of focused development, improved collaboration, smarter design thinking, and a growing awareness in the Linux community that usability and aesthetics matter just as much as performance and freedom. One of the biggest drivers behind this transformation, the evolution of modern desktop environments, the parts of your system you actually interact with daily: menus, panels, settings, animations, window management, and everything in between. For years, Linux desktops were functional but visually chaotic. Today, environments like GNOME, KDE, Plasma, Cinnamon, and Pantheon are obsessed with design language, smoothness, and user experience. Take GNOME, for example. Years ago, GNOME made a controversial move. They completely ditched the traditional desktop layout. A lot of users were furious at first, but that bold decision laid the groundwork for something much bigger. Today's GNOME feels clean, minimal, and purposeful. Animations flow smoothly. Spacing feels natural and uncluttered. Fonts are crisp and readable. Everything looks genuinely modern. With the adoption of Wayland, GNOME gained better performance, tighter security, smoother animations, and excellent support for high-resolution displays. On modern hardware, GNOME feels polished in a way that would have seemed impossible for Linux just 10 years ago. On the flip side, there's KDE Plasma. KDE used to have a reputation for being bloated and cluttered, but that image is completely outdated now. Today, KDE Plasma is one of the most customizable and lightweight desktop environments available. It offers stunning visual effects blur, transparency, smooth animations, advanced theming while staying fast and responsive. KDE developers spent years optimizing performance and refining visual consistency. Now, Plasma can look as sleek as macOS, as familiar as Windows, or completely unique depending on your preferences. This combination of total freedom and serious polish is something no other desktop ecosystem truly delivers. Another game changer powering Linux's new look is Wayland. For decades, Linux relied on an aging display system that was powerful but painfully outdated and nearly impossible to modernize. Wayland was built to fix these problems from the ground up. It enables smoother animations, better touch and gesture support, improved security, and more efficient rendering. as more desktops and applications fully embrace Wayland. The Linux desktop experience becomes noticeably more fluid and modern. This is especially apparent on laptops with precision touchpads and high refresh rate displays, where gestures, scrolling, and window movement feel natural and incredibly responsive. Application design is also improving at a rapid pace. In the past, Linux apps often looked wildly different from each other, creating a disjointed experience. Today, modern toolkits like GTK and Qt are embracing better design principles. Apps now feature consistent layouts, proper dark mode support, adaptive interfaces, and touch-friendly designs. Flatpak and other universal packaging systems let developers ship modern applications with consistent visuals across different distributions. Linux distributions themselves are shifting their priorities. First impressions now matter a lot. Distros like Ubuntu, Fedora, Pop, OS, Linux, Mint, Zorin OS, and Elementary OS are investing heavily in visual identity and usability. They're no longer just software collections, they're carefully curated experiences. Zorin OS focuses on making new users feel instantly comfortable, especially those coming from Windows or macOS. Elementary OS emphasizes simplicity, elegance, and obsessive attention to detail. Pop_OS targets power users with tiling workflows and a bold, confident visual style. This design focus isn't just about aesthetics, it's about accessibility. When a system looks modern and behaves predictably, users feel confident, they're less worried about breaking something and more willing to explore and experiment. Hardware support has improved dramatically too. Graphics drivers work better. High DPI displays, multi-monitor setups, and variable refresh rates now work smoothly out of the box. Gaming on Linux has exploded thanks to technologies like Proton and Vulkan, and desktop environments are evolving to support these modern workflows seamlessly. Touch support is getting better as well. GNOME, in particular, offers excellent gesture and touchscreen support. Swiping between workspaces and interacting with the interface feels intuitive and natural. Linux desktops aren't lagging behind anymore, they're actively evolving and innovating. Customization remains one of Linux's greatest strengths, but now it comes built on a polished foundation. Users no longer need to customize just to make things usable. The default experience is already excellent, and customization becomes optional, a bonus, not a requirement. What makes this revolution even more fascinating is how quietly it's happening. There's no massive marketing campaign, no billion-dollar ad budget. People discover it organically. Someone installs Linux out of curiosity and is genuinely surprised by how good it looks. They show a friend, a video goes viral. Slowly but surely, perceptions shift. Linux desktop environments are mostly community-driven projects, yet they're producing experiences that rival and sometimes surpass those created by massive corporations with enormous resources. This proves that open collaboration, guided by thoughtful design and clear vision, can achieve truly world-class results. The revolution isn't finished. There's still rough edges to smooth out, but the direction is crystal clear. Linux desktops are aiming higher than ever before. Linux's new look isn't just about pretty visuals. It represents a fundamental shift in mindset. The Linux desktop community now understands that beauty, simplicity, and joy aren't luxuries, they're essential. This isn't the Linux desktop of the past. This is something new, something confident, something ready for a much, much bigger audience. And here at OpenTech IA, we're watching this revolution unfold in real time.